So Representative Chris Stewart launched a weak-ass attack on Medicare for All in a committee hearing. Let's take a look.
I want to say that as a Republican, I love talking about this because I think we've got some solutions that will help. But again and again and again, I hear my Democratic colleagues talk about how bad and how the system is failing Americans, which is a dramatic admission on their part, I think, because it's an admission that Obamacare failed. Because the current law of the land is Obamacare. And I think it's a fair thing to point that out. You know, and essentially what they're saying is, yeah, Obamacare isn't very good, but give us $32 trillion and another chance, and this time we'll fix it. And this time we'll fix it for real. In my last election, I talked a lot about this. It was an issue we discussed all the time, and I didn't spend much time talking about the $32 trillion price tag or the fact that you have to double taxes for virtually every American and every American business to pay for it. I think there's a more devastating aspect to Medicare for All, and that's the thing I want to focus on today. Quoting from the CBO report, because the public plan would provide a specified set of health care services to everyone eligible, participants would not have a choice of insurer or health benefits. Something like 60%, I think it depends on who you talk to, but it's close. 60% of Americans get their insurance from a private insurance now. They're possessive of that. They should be. They want to protect their choice and their option of providing and buying a private plan. Under the single-payer system, what do you mean when you say that, quote, participants would not have a choice of insurer or health benefits? Can you describe that quickly?
Sure, we mean that the government, whether it was federal or state, would set the benefits, and it would be one set of benefits for all participants.
One set, no choice. Is that true?
Correct, as we anticipated.
You either opt in or you opt in. Those are your choices.
Now, he goes on to argue, and I'm not kidding about this, Medicare for All is not a fair policy to the average Joe and Jane. Medicare for All would help the wealthy and the elites. What? And his convoluted argument is like, well, what would happen is the rich would opt out and they'd get the better care. They'd get the private insurance coverage that's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. 30 to 45,000 Americans die every year because they don't have access to basic health care. If you have a Medicare for All system, that number drops down to 0. Please tell me again how this is so, Medicare for All would be so wonderful for the wealthy and so terrible for the regular person. You do know medical bills are one of the top causes of bankruptcy? You know that would not be the case anymore under a Medicare for All system, right? Listen, these guys, he's a propagandist is what he is. Now, he probably also has thoroughly drunk the Kool-Aid, so he believes his own propaganda, but he is a propagandist. And the Republicans are always the id on this issue, and it's really ugly when you see what they really believe because it's so counterfactual. All of it is wrong. It's really incredible. So let's go through some of this. He says, well, I love it when the Democrats talk about how bad our healthcare system is because they're admitting that Obamacare failed. The actual admission is for-profit health insurance companies running the show leads to a disaster. That's the real argument. The argument is, for all these years, we've had for-profit health insurance companies being the heart and soul of the system, and things have gotten worse and worse and worse. Everything's more expensive, and health outcomes are terrible. So many people are uncovered. And our system is the worst in the developed world. Quite literally. The Commonwealth Fund study determined that. An empirical, quantitative analysis. And they were like, oh, you guys are the worst by far. So that's the real admission. Now, if you want to make your shitty little cheap partisan point, Obamacare bad, fine, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Because you know whose plan it originally was, right? The Heritage Foundation. Right-wing think tank. You know who supported it, right? Mitt Romney, Chuck Grassley, Newt Gingrich. These are the people who supported this. This was supposed to be the right-wing answer to a single-payer system. We'll keep the private health insurance companies intact, but we'll, like, force you to buy from them. Okay, yeah, I agree that's kind of a shitty reform. I mean, it was better than nothing because the few regulations that were implemented on health insurance companies were necessary, like protections from pre-existing conditions and a bunch of other things like staying on your parents' rolls until you're 26 years old and mandating a certain percentage of the money going to health insurance companies has to go towards care and not administrative and overhead costs. It used to be like 50-50. Some companies would spend like half their money on bullshit. Obamacare said you got to spend at least 80% of your money on actual health care. So some regulations were important. But overall, you want to make your cheap partisan point, Obamacare bad. Okay, fine. I'll give it to you, man. I'll give it to you. But the reality of the situation is the health insurance companies, for-profit health insurance companies, they are the problem. And that's not up in the air. That's not open to interpretation or disagreement. That's just true. Listen, they have no real arguments. So what do? $32 trillion. Okay. Our current system, that's the 10-year cost, our current system is $5 trillion more expensive. You do understand that, right? Do you understand that? So the cost of healthcare over the next 10 years, if we do nothing and keep it as is $37 trillion. So when you bring up $32 trillion as if that's scary, it's not scary. What you're saying is, I'm going to save you a lot of money. That's what you're really saying. You don't know you're saying it, but that's what you're saying. And by the way, let's be clear that the money that we're paying in premiums, in copays, in deductibles, that's a private tax. So it's taxes, we have to pay it, but it's just going to a private corporation. That's a private tax. So our taxes are higher now. If you get Medicare for All in place, our taxes that we pay to the government go up, but you totally eliminate a private tax, so you save money. A concept that I know this guy understands, but he's going to lie about it and act like he doesn't understand it. And then finally, I love because this argument is so tired and so stale and so dumb if you think about it for 2 seconds, but so you're telling me that under a Medicare for All system, people will have no choice of insurer or health benefits. Now notice something. He didn't say doctor, did he? Right, he didn't say doctor. Well, why didn't he say doctor? Because you do have a choice. You have a choice of any doctor you want. In fact, right now, under our current system, I don't know about you guys, but I certainly deal with it. I have in-network, hospitals and doctors to go to. And if I want to go see a doctor who's out of network, I can't. Nothing's covered. Let's say I'm on vacation, I'm in Florida, something happens, I got to go to a doctor there. Sorry, uncovered, pay for it all out of pocket. Why? It wasn't in the network. I don't give a fuck about a fucking network. I needed to go to the doctor, so I went, and you should fucking cover it because I'm paying you every goddamn month. Nope, that's not the way it works in America. We have networks. Oh, you can't go to that one because he's not in the network. Oh, sorry, we switched networks on you, so the doctor you've been going to for 10 fucking years is no longer in your network, so piss off. You got to pay out of pocket if you go to that doctor. If you go to this other one who you don't like, well, they're in network, so then, we cover some of it. Only some of it, of course, because they never cover all of it. See, this is like... The real thing people like is their doctor. So they want to be able to see their doctor. Nobody cares. I cannot leave Humana. God forbid I ever leave Humana. God forbid I ever leave Aetna or Blue Cross Blue Shield. Oh, no. Nobody thinks like that. Nobody cares. Oh, my God. But even so, the idea that you need choice in insurer or health benefits, can you imagine? Take that mindset and apply it to the fire department. My house is on fire. Okay, the fire department's going to come and put it out. Oh, that's lovely. That's wonderful. Could you imagine anybody going, no, I don't like that fire department. Why don't I have choice in who puts out my fire? Fuck are you talking about, bro? Your house is on fire. Somebody's going to come put it out. I feel like my freedom has been restricted by not being able to pick which fire departments come. And I'm further feel my freedom has been restricted because I cannot pick the kind of fire insurance I'd like. If I have a propane fire or a gas line fire, I would like coverage for that, but I do not want coverage if I have a fire because of arson or if I have a fire because a piece of wood from the fireplace fell on the carpet and it caught on fire. I only want certain kinds of fire that are covered. Thank you very much. Freedom. I call this freedom. That's the equivalent of what they're saying. What do you mean, choice in health benefits? What does that mean? Okay, sir, if something happens to my spleen, I would like that covered. If something happens to my gallbladder, I'm good. I think I got a healthy gallbladder. Not covered. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Choice in health benefits. What kind of fucking dumb shit? What do you say? What does that mean? If I get cancer, cover that. If I get heart disease, don't cover. The fuck? Well, if you take heart disease off of the list of stuff that's covered, well, then you won't have to pay as much per month. Yeah, very healthy system we have here. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. But they're so brainwashed into this fucking cult that they're like, yeah, the Democrats want to take away your choice of insurer or health benefits. Why don't you finish the sentence? You want to know why? 'Cause everything is covered, full stop. And by the way, it's also not even true because supplemental private care means if you really want, you can go get private health insurance. You're not going to want it because everything's going to be covered and it's going to be great. But if you want it, fine. We're not banning for-profit health insurance. And by the way, they pretend like they do. They go on to say, they want to ban it. It's totally made up. Listen, these guys are dishonest actors and they're idiots. And they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And Democrats, if they care about this stuff and if they know what they're talking about, they could destroy these guys.